All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the MMA show, ShipItNation.com. I'm joined as usual, Big Marley. Nice to be back. Shout out to Hoop last week, taking my show when I was on vacation. Pretty okay card last week. I mean, on paper, it was definitely gross. There were some good fights in there. This week in London, always love the London cards. 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. over here on the West Coast start time. So make sure you get your alarm set, get those lineups in. All fighters did make weight too. So, man, Marley, looks like we will have 15 fights. That's a very rare occasion. What's going on, man? How's your Friday? What's your thoughts on this card?
Yeah, man, 15 fights is a lot. Hopefully it sticks. But yeah, solid card. London crowd always brings it. So I'm looking forward to this card. And coming off, I think it was a pretty good week last week. It was basically all favorites that won, but it was a cash night for me. So I was happy with it, hoping to continue here. UFC London, we got $500K prize pool, $100K up top. So I'm ready to chase these big prizes.
Absolutely. What's going on, G? Pfeiffer in chat. What's going on to everybody out there watching? Shout out to you guys. We appreciate it. All we ask from you guys, like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. But if you do want all of our premium content over here at ShipItNation.com, all of my fight breakdowns, Marley's fight rankings, core plays, projections, ownership, you name it, we got that all over here at ShipItNation.com. PGA, MMA, MLB, NFL will be coming. Big Marley and I do best ball. Everything you need to be successful over here at ShipItNation.com for one low price, $59 a month, $599 a year. Love to have you. Make sure to get in the Discord if you do join. And of course, got to shout out our partner over at drafters.com, matching 100% from $20 all the way up to $100. If you don't have an account, definitely make sure to check that out. And there might be overlay. I know I keep mentioning it right now. There was overlay last year. 111,000 people in that $20 contest they have to fill. We'll see. We'll know obviously a little closer, but nonetheless, getting a free $100 when you put 100 in is a great deal over there. Use that promo code SHIPIT. Shout out to drafters. Who else we got in chat? Rummy, my man, what's going on? GR in here as well. Let's go fight by fight though, Big Marley. 15 fights. We got a lot to talk about. I'm excited for this one. Not too many big favorites too. If you're just looking basic overview of the slate, Tom Aspinall in the main event, the biggest favorite, will probably be the highest owned. He will be the highest owned. But 9,700, man. I mean, you can get 110 and still possibly not be on the optimal. And then you look at a lot of these other ones, a lot of closely lined fights. So I'm expecting dogs to come through. I said that last week, though, with a lot of closely lined fights and every single favorite one up until the main event. Should get a good amount of finishes, it looks like, on this card, too. So I'm pumped for it. My man Zethal Hatless, his title is back. Yeah, I didn't in Vegas. I didn't bring a hat this trip. So, all right, let's roll. First fight on the card: Rafael Filo, Daniel Barrioz. We got Filo coming in. It's pretty much a pick 'em. Some sites it is a pick 'em, minus 115 a piece. See minus 113, minus 107. Some minus 120, minus 105s out there. 8,300 Filo, 7,900 Barrioz. Yeah, right away we get a coin flip fight right in the mid tier. I like the mid-tier this week. There's a couple fun ones I'm excited for. Minus 135 this fight is to end inside the distance. Filo is plus 275. Barrioz is plus 250 to finish. Excuse me, Filo is plus 200. Barrioz is plus 250. I'm looking at this as a clash of styles. Saw Filo make his UFC debut against Muhammad Makayev. No one expected him to do anything. He loses the first two rounds pretty convincingly. But, man, that knee bar he had on Makayev would have tapped out 99.9% of people. And then he goes and gets submitted after he had one knee. Makayev had one knee, but he can grapple. There's no doubt about that. If it's on the mat, he does have one kill. Jiu-jitsu, not a bum on the feet by any means, but I think Barrioz definitely has the striking advantage. He's making his UFC debut. I love this kid on the feet of what I've seen. He mixes up to the body, mixes up down low, all three levels, has power. He's quick. Man, I'm excited for this one. I'm taking the small dog shot. Earlier in the week, it was a little bigger dog. Taking the striker. I think he can piece him up on the feet. I think a lot of volume is thrown, but I'll definitely have both sides to start this one. What do you got in this one, Marley?
Yeah, I don't mind either side of this fight. I think it is going to be Filo with the grappling edge and Barrioz with the striking edge. I mean, Hafel has big power on the feet, but that's the only way he's going to score well if he wins any kind of striking fight is he's going to need a knockout. He's going to have to get the fight to the ground multiple times or lock up a submission, but that's a style I like on DraftKings, so I still like him. We're getting a little negative value at that $8,300 price tag. Maybe he'll even be the underdog by the time this fight starts. So the lower that ownership gets, the more I'll like it. But I also like Barrioz as well. I mean, he had 5 takedowns in his Contender Series fight. Looked good in that fight. I think he's our minute winner on the feet. He could get a knockout as well. I don't think he wants to go for takedowns in this matchup. He's putting himself in a lot of danger, I think. But I don't know. I mean, 7,900, any win from this guy, I think will be all right. So I'm cool putting either guy in. I'm picking Hafel Filo, though. I like his grappling a lot. I was impressed with him before that Muhammad fight and even more impressed with him afterwards. So I'll take him to get a submission at some point. But if I need the $400, I'll go down to Barrioz in my single entry if I need to. Really don't have a big lean in this one. Just a good fight to target. I think I'll probably be right around there inside the distance line. So you said plus 200,
plus 250. Filo plus 200, Barrioz plus 250.
Okay, so yeah, Filo plus 250. That's like 33%. I'd be fine around 30% of him, and then 20 plus 200. I think 28% is solid for Barrioz as well. So I'll probably just be whatever their ITD line is in my exposure, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes some sense. And you did bring up a good point earlier. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this line, if Barrioz did close minus 125, minus 120, something like that. And if that's the case, then if ownership swings and Barrioz is 30%, Filo is 20%, like I'd rather the 20% Filo, no doubt, and you get more leverage that way. However, it's just so hard to know this with ownership. It's so random, it feels like, because a couple times recently in recent memory, the favorites or 8,200 guys a dog, 8,000 guys a favorite. Somehow they come in with the exact same ownership. Sometimes I remember like Matthew Semmelsberger, Jeremiah Wells fights, 7,800 Wells, like 8,400 Semmelsberger. Wells was the favorite. He was cheaper, and Semmelsberger came in like 1% higher owned, like the same ownership. I was like, I mean, I don't even know what the field actually does anymore. So
that's true.
Definitely monitor. There's another fight right in the mid tier that we'll talk about too. That like if you think it's 30%, 20% of the ownership discount is going to be pretty big, I would definitely go with the lower owned fighter. As of now, I think it's pretty similar. And there's a lot of good fights in the mid tier too. So I think ownership's pretty spread out for the most part. You're on Filo, I'm on Barrioz. I agree with you. I say Clash of Styles because that's how I'm viewing it. Like Barrioz is good on the mat too. He has multiple subs. He's no bum. And Filo, he can strike too. But I just think Barrioz is a better striker, Filo a better grappler. And you just got to expect that they think that too. So, yeah, fun first fight on the card. I'm excited for this one to kick it off. Next fight on the card, going to the women's division, Bruno Brazil, Shauna Bannon, 8,600 Brazil, 7,600 Bannon. Looking at the odds, minus 155 for Brazil, plus 135 for Bannon. So we got a line flip in this one. Bannon opened, minus 155 is the favorites. Brazil plus 135 on the way back. And the line completely flipped now with Brazil being the slight favorite. Plus 195 to end inside the distance, plus 265 for Brazil, plus 750 for Bannon. So if there's a finish in this fight, the book's expected to be Brazil. I expect it to be Brazil too. She had a nasty head kick on Contender Series. Looked flat in her debut. Denise Gomes, though, which she just did a couple weeks ago. Very impressive. So a good fighter there. Yeah, it's an interesting one because no one's going to want to click 8,600 Brazil. I think she's going to be one of the lowest owned fighters on the card. However, plus 265 inside the distance prop isn't bad. And I think Bannon, she's making her UFC debut, 5-0, has fought cans. Like, there's really so many unknowns with it. I think something's telling me that this is going to be a wild, crazy pace. You know, every single time they tap someone in women's MMA, it's deemed significant strike. I think this one could be fun, man. I want to be overweight on this fight. As far as Bannon, like, she's not going to be too high owned. She's, of course, going to get some ownership. She's going to be higher owned than Brazil, but any win at 7,600, and I think she's going to try and take the fight to the mat. I think on the feet, Brazil has the power advantage. Bannon's going to pressure her up, and I think she'll be looking for takedowns. So in a vacuum, definitely prefer the Bannon side for the $1,000 savings. I'm taking Bannon just because it's women's MMA. Both these girls I don't think is very good. Probably going to be picking against them for the most part. However, 1,000 savings, slight dog money. I'll pick her. Confidence is a 0. However, game theory-wise is how I want to play this fight. Brazil's going to be solo owned. I definitely want to take shots on her. That's how you can play Aspinall and other chalkier fighters when you mix in a low-owned fighter like that. Definitely will have some Bannon as a dog, though. Good win equity. Not good finish equity, but she gets takedowns, control time. We know they can rack up that way. So I think this is going to be a sneaky, high-paced fight. Not saying it's going to be a good fight, but I think it could score well. What are your thoughts on this one?
I don't really like it. I think that if it is a high-paced fight, it will be low-owned, and it is a good reason to target it. But I see it being more of a technical fight. On the Brazil side, I just think she's the much more technical kickboxer, really, and I think she'll want to stay at range here. And if she doesn't get that finish bonus, I just don't see her doing a whole lot of striking minute to minute and scoring well in a 15-minute fight. So I kind of think it's really around her inside the distance line, which is about 20%. That's about the max I would want to go actually on her, because maybe she can mix in a takedown or two, but she's not that great on the ground. I don't expect her to do much there. I would rather pay less for Bannon. I was hoping that she would have more wrestling chops than I saw. She looks like she's primarily a striker, but I don't think she has the edge on the feet in this matchup. So it would be smart to go out there and look for takedowns. And if she can grind out minutes on the ground, that's going to score better than Brazil, grinding out minutes on the feet. So I would rather just go to the underdog. But since I'm picking Brazil to win, it's just going to be a fight that I don't target much. I won't exit out of I was thinking about exiting out of my player pool, but you kind of talked me out of that. I just don't have the biggest lean on how this fight's going to play out. So it is a sneaky fight to target, but I'm more so banning her pass right now.
Yeah, there's so many unknowns in this one. I mean, we've seen Brazil fight once against Denise Gomes, and again, Denise Gomes is good. And then Shannon Bannon, there's some tape on her. I think she's going to push a pace in this one. She looks aggressive, and she stands at range. I just think she gets beaten up. So if she pushes the pace, which is what I'm counting on, Brazil's going to be forced to throw something. And yeah, I love including these low-owned fights. Brazil, one of the lowest-owned fighters. I like Aspinall. We'll talk about later. You got to get different MMA. You can't jam all the chalk, play all the highest-owned guys, leave $0 salary. You hold hands with everyone. You got to mix in lower fighters, leave salary. So when you win, you aren't holding hands with everybody else. But before we go to the next fight, I got to shout out my guys, JP and John. Had a blast with them yesterday. They said they were going to tune in today. So shout out to you boys. Hope y'all have a good trip. And happy birthday to you, John. Next fight on the card, keeping it rolling. Chris Duncan, Yanel Ashmouz, 8,400 Duncan, 7,800 Ashmouz. Another line that completely flipped. Ashmouz opened up as the favorite, minus 172. Line completely. It slowly but surely flipped. Now Ashmouz is the dog, minus 150 for Duncan, plus 130 for Ashmouz. Definitely was some recency bias in that line opener. Ashmouz's UFC debut was a big underdog. Knocks out Sam Patterson. Brutal knockout. Huge overhand. Ashmouz has a bunch of power. No doubt about that. It's another interesting one right in the mid-tier, man. Duncan, was a primary striker. Showed a new wrinkle to his game last fight, though, using the wrestling, mixed in 5 takedowns. On the feet, Chris Duncan has a big right hand. He has a bunch of power. Ashmouz has big power as well. So someone definitely can fall on the feet, minus 200 for this fight to finish. I think Chris Duncan's going to try and wrestle a little bit. How much success we have, we don't really know. I think Ashmouz, his takedown defense, a little unknown. He can be taken down. We've seen prior to the UFC. Get up game, a little unknown. I don't know about this one, man. This one's really, really tough for me. I know Ashmouz sounds like the most popular dog pick of the week for the industry, rightfully so, coming off that big knockout. Duncan, no striking defense at all. It'd be fun if this fight's on the feet. It could be in a phone booth and someone goes down early, getting great finishing odds. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I kind of see it being a phone booth fight. Just one of these guys going down early. They're both aggressive. They both have power. I do think Duncan's probably the more likely minute winner if it does go the distance with his wrestling upside. So I think that's probably why he's the favorite. But I have no lean on who's going to land that first shot. I do think Duncan has worse striking defense, though. So that's why I ended up picking Ashmouz. I think he can go out there and get a knockout in the first round and just break the slate. But you saying he might be the most popular dog on the card makes me kind of like Duncan a little bit more, to be honest with you, because he could get that first round knockout as well. I just haven't seen enough Ashmouz to be sold on him. It's just a fight where I think they're going to be swinging. Fight ends in knockout is minus 150. So I just think it's kind of a coin flip on who that's going to be. I'd rather save the money, but maybe this is a good one to just, instead of saving the money, just go to the lower owned fighter. If that's Duncan, I'm not against that at all. I just think this is a great fight to target. 4 or 5 star. Where would you go on this one? I've been going back and forth on 4 and 5 star. What would you do?
Yeah, probably 4. I mean, there's just so like the mid tier is just so loaded. Like we're gonna get to a Danny Roberts Parsons fight that's expected to finish. That Filo fight we talked about in the beginning expected to finish. Like this range, 15 fights, you're gonna need big scores. There's win equity. I'm kind of throwing that out the table as much. You need 100 plus. I'm telling myself in every single spot. I think some dogs, big ones come through. I think Ashmouz will be. I mean, 7,800, good win equity, very good inside the distance prop. Save 600 from Duncan. I do think he probably will be the highest owned underdog. And Duncan showed I think he's going to try and wrestle. So I mean, with wrestling, a game plan. I don't know for sure if that'll be his game plan, but when he feels Ashmouz's power and Duncan has no striking defense, he might be shooting. And we saw him go to the clinch and go to the ground a lot last fight. So the game theory play, I think, is Duncan. I'm going to slightly side with Duncan. Again, my confidence is 0. It just, man, everyone and their mom seems to be on Ashmouz, and the line just kept going against them all week. So yeah, that's $600 again, minus 200. Great fight to target. Do you think you think Duncan tries to wrestle at all? Do you think Ashmouz can keep it on the feet? You just think someone goes down in the first round?
Man, I think he's probably more likely to wrestle early if he gets caught, and more so to buy himself some time and then changes to plan B and then looks to wrestle throughout the rest of the fight. But I don't know that he's going to go in looking for takedowns right away. I think they're going to want to bang.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. I think Duncan would feel the power early and then be like, yeah, it's time to wrestle. I mean, who even knows? Who even knows if he has that much success? Like, Chris Duncan's no D1 All-American wrestler by any means. I mean, it's just more so he did it last fight against Morales. I mean, I just Ashmouz is such an unknown. He comes in there, huge underdog, knocks him out in just over a minute. Really didn't get to see much of him. So he's been dropped multiple times in his fights prior to the UFC, though. Showed toughness, but he's definitely dealt with adversity. So I'll slightly lean Duncan. You're leaning Ashmouz. Get game theory, though, makes me like Duncan more just because I think Ashmouz could be 30%, something around there. Duncan could be 15, 20. In MMA, I usually tend to side with the ownership discount. Again, don't want to be holding hands with everybody when you do win. James Title, you guys be doing any underdog best ball shows? No underdog best ball shows. We will have underdog rankings, though, up on our site over here at chipitnation.com. Get any other questions you got in our NFL best ball portion in Discord, you can ask. But our partners with Drafters, we love Drafters over here. The cumulative soaring really is awesome. So just Drafter shows once a week. Good question, though, James. Appreciate you coming in here. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, my least favorite fight, no doubt about that. Ketlin Vieira, Panny Kianzad, 9,100. Vieira, 7,100. Panny Kianzad. I mean, it's minus 150 Vieira, plus 130 on the way back, plus 230. This fight finishes inside the distance. Kianzad plus 800, Vieira plus 300 inside the distance. I said Ashmouz would be the most popular dog. I still probably think so. But Kianzad's going to be one of the most popular too because, excuse me, man, that booze is coming. The line, her win equity at 7,100 at plus 130. People love playing that. Again, I want to hunt for a ceiling more. So I'm going to be underweight on Kianzad and GPPs, no doubt. For her 7,100, her win equity, it is good. She scores 70. She does throw good volume. There's no doubt about that. Over 5 significant strikes per minute. But I think Vieira is going to be trying to get this in the clinch, grind it up against the fence, try and get it on the mat. So even if Kianzad wins a 29-28 decision, one of those rounds, Vieira could be on top all 4 minutes. Kianzad scores nothing that way. Then she only has 10 minutes to score. I hate the upside in this one. I'm definitely not getting to Vieira. Again, if you want the low owned, she will probably be the lowest owned fighter on the card. If you want to play that route, plus 300, if she gets on top, she does have a path, wrestling, good submission game. It's not the craziest thing. Like, I'd rather just go Brazil for 500 less and a very low owned dog that way. So I'm not getting to Vieira in my 20 entry. I'm going to be underweight on Panny Kianzad. Hope Vieira wins a decision, which is my pick. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think Vieira is just going to be priced out of my player pool at 9,100. She's got 7 UFC wins. She's never even scored 90 points. I don't see this going a whole lot better for her. I would think she needs a knockout or 3 rounds of wrestling to pay that off, but she just doesn't wrestle enough for my liking. I think she's going to be landing the harder shots on the feet, but the volume is a worry. I think Kianzad is live just based on her landing more volume throughout a 3-round striking match. But yeah, I just think this is going to be a low-paced fight where Vieira wins the decision and scores 75 points. So it's my least favorite fight on the card as well, I think. I think Kianzad's a good cash game punt, but if she's going to be popular at all in GPPs, I'm down to fade that. So give me Vieira to win and just not make the optimal lineup, and I'll be cool fading this fight.
Yeah, no, 100%. She is going to be in cash consideration, no doubt, with that money line equity. Haven't built cash teams yet. Heading out to the airport after this. So I got all my fights broken down. They'll be up on the site in a couple hours. Core plays, rankings will all be up there as well. Big Marley has all that up. And again, projections and ownership starting this week. We got it for PGA. It will be up on the site as well today. So everything you need to be successful in MMA DFS, we got you covered over here. So content will be rolling out in the next couple hours. I'll probably get the slate plan up first, and then when I get home from the flight, get the core plays, get the tier rankings up. But again, early card tomorrow, so everything will be up today on Friday like it always is. Join us over here, chippingnation.com. Love to have you. Get in the Discord, like I always said. Yeah, I mean, that was not a good fight. Going to what I think is going to be one-way traffic. Makhmed Muradov, Brian Barberena, 9,500 Muradov, 6,700 Brian Barberena. Second biggest favorite on the card, minus 350 for Makhmed, plus 285 on the way back for Barberena. This fight is minus 130 to finish inside the distance, plus 130 for Makhmed, plus 475 for Barberena. I'm not going to get to Barberena, second biggest dog in my 20 teams or less. I just don't think he wins this fight. I think he's outgunned anywhere. On the feet, he definitely has power. I think Muradov is a better striker, more technical. I think he even has more power. And what I think Muradov is going to do in this one, I think he's going to put on the wrestling shoes, man. Brian Barberena, some of the worst takedown defense you'll see. Anyone can take him down. It's an easy path. We haven't seen Makhmed do it in the UFC thus far as much. However, he did last fight against Kyle Ohio, who you aren't supposed to take down. He did get takedowns, end up getting reversed. So if he's doing that against him, I think he's going to do it against Barberena. Showed some prior to the UFC, some wrestling chops too. Anyone can take down Brian Barberena. Easiest path to victory. And if he does that, he has upside, and he's not going to be low owned by any means. But for 200 more is Tom Aspinall. And on paper, Tom Aspinall is a way better play than Muradov. However, if Aspinall's 40%, whatever it may be, 45, Muradov's 20, 25, something like that, there's something to be said about leaving 200, playing Muradov makes you different. Maybe if Aspinall lineup has 100 people on that train, that Muradov one might have 12, 13, something like that. If that's the case, yeah, always sign me up for getting 60, 70 people off the train, share with a lot less people. I think that's how I'm going to be looking to use Muradov again. I think he is going to wrestle. I'm not 100% certain about that by any means. He is a primary striker. I just think in this matchup, it makes total sense. Everyone can take down Brian Barberena. So, I mean, he can get cracked too. Jason Whitt freaking dropped Barberena. So Muradov can come out here and start him in a minute, maybe two. But yeah, one-way traffic for me, no Barberena. What you got?
Yeah, I agree. I just think Muradov's going to be better everywhere. But he's he's plus 300 to win in round one. And that's probably what we need from him at 9,500 for him to make the optimal lineup over Aspinall.
Unless he wrestles.
Yeah, unless he wrestles. But I actually think the two things that Barberena has going for him would be cardio and he's a better nail. Like he can take a beating and come back late. Where if Muradov wrestles, I think he's more likely to slow down as the fight goes along. I think he could pick apart Barberena in each round on the feet. But I'm going to pick him to get an early knockout in this one. So I do have some interest, but I won't go higher than that 25% implied odds on him getting the first round finish. Because if he got a second or a third round knockout, I doubt he does enough leading up to it to score well. 15 fight card, you're going to need 100 plus. He's never had 100 plus so far. But I mean, Barberena is a former 155er. moving up to 185 here. Just seems lazy to me. He doesn't look like a 185er at all. So I think it's end of career time for Barberena and Muradov. I'll take him to get a knockout.
Yeah, the move up is definitely was a red flag. Muradov's gonna be a way bigger fighter. So yeah, I agree though. In a vacuum, like Tom Aspinall is a million times better play. There's other fighters for cheaper to save money that I probably like a little more. It's just I think other people will see that. People might be surprised. I think Muradov's gonna come in lower owned than people think, and because I do think he's gonna go to the wrestling a bit, I like him for that reason. But yeah, plus 300 for first round. We'll get to Tom Aspinall. Pretty much a coin flip there. Everyone's going to find the 200. So, yep, that's Muradov, Barberena. Please don't get a knockout, Barberena. Don't ruin my night that early. Keeping it rolling, low-level heavyweights, man. This one's going to be interesting. Jamal Pogues, Vic Parkin. We got Pogues coming in, minus 160, plus 140 on the way back for Parkin. Another line that completely flipped throughout the week. A lot of line movement on this card. Parkin opened minus 175. Right away, money poured in on Pogues. I mean, it looks like one guy just hammered it. The line completely flipped. It's been going back and forth really since then. Money coming in both ways. But Pogues the favorite. This fight is minus 145 to finish. Pogues plus 225. Parkin plus 200. I mean, man, Parkin making the UFC debut. Pogues making his second walk. This is low-level heavyweights, man. I didn't want to pick either of these guys. I wish they fought someone else so I could fade them. Both guys primary wrestlers. Like, these are the fights I'm definitely targeting this fight. Low-level heavyweights, so many unknowns. Who knows about cardio? Pogues does look to have some pretty solid cardio, which is why I'm going to side with him. But who knows what to expect with Parkin, man? Like, he's fought bums. He hasn't looked good on, like, every fight I see. I'm not very impressed, but he's still pretty young, training with good guys. Expect him to get better. He hasn't fought for a while. Like, these are the fights that so many unknowns. Embrace variance, embrace the volatility in a sport like this. Pick Pogues, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm interested in your thoughts. What you got?
Yeah, just a good fight to target because they're low-level heavyweights. Either guy could get a finish really in any round. We haven't seen Parkin even go to the third round before, so a lot of unknowns with Parkin. Pogues, I mean, he's got a little bit of power, but he's low volume on the feet. The best thing about him would be his wrestling, but he had 5 takedowns in his last win. He only scored 82 points. He's just not doing enough on the ground to score well. So 8,900 makes him not a must-have, but at the same time, he could go out there and finish Parkin. If Parkin gasses out, just doesn't have 15 minutes of cardio. I don't know. So I'm interested in Pogues for that reason, but I'm also interested in the unknowns in Parkin. Maybe he ends up being the better striker. Maybe he ends up being the better wrestler. I really don't know. I think he's got an okay game plan everywhere, I guess. He's probably the better grappler, but I would guess he's the worst wrestler. And he's training with Aspinall, so you would think he's got some solid striking. I guess I'd rather save the money. Give me the $1,600 discount, and I'll take Parkin. But I'm picking Pogues to win. Just there's more film on him. There's more knowns about him. I think he could go out there and wrestle and tire out Parkin. If Parkin doesn't have the gas, then I think it could be a wrestling clinic. So I'll take Pogues to get a second, maybe even a third round TKO here with some ground and pound. Just thinking that Parkin might gas out. But either way, great fight to target either side of. I'll pick Pogues to get the win. Don't feel good.
Yeah. No, the thing, like you said, in a vacuum, I'd save the 1,600, take the unknown Parkin. However, only plus 140, 7,300 in a fight, good inside the distance prop. Like, game theory-wise, Pogues is going to be way lower owned. Maybe he's half the ownership, 1.5 times less owned. So Parkin will be one of the more popular dogs on the card too. I'm good eating like chalk. Like, that's when you can maybe play a Brazil or something like that. And again, ownership's going to be, we're not talking Parkin going to be 35+% owned by any means. It's going to be pretty spread out on a 15 fight card, but he is going to be one of the more popular ones. I do think there's so many unknowns, like you said. I wouldn't be surprised the winner looks minus 2,000, minus 1,000 in this one with so many unknowns. And that's the spots that I like. Like, if one of these guys could be minus 1,000, more than likely they're probably going to put up a big score. Heavyweights, who knows about cardio? When people gas, you know, the upside is really big. So yeah, I'm going to push my chips. I'm going to play a lot of this fight. Do I care who wins? No, I'll probably want Pogues to win because he's going to be lower owned, but give me an optimal score in this one, and I'll be happy. So keeping it rolling. Next fight on the card, Joel Alvarez, Mark Diakiese. Got Alvarez coming in -190. Diakiese +165 on the way back. Fights -220 to finish. Alvarez -125. Diakiese +425. What you see in this one?
Another good fight to target. I think Alvarez is just dangerous everywhere. I think he could spark Diakiese in the first round, knock him out. He's also got nasty grappling, so he could submit him really in any round, but probably more likely early in the fight. But Diakiese, I mean, he's a solid striker as well. He came into the UFC with a lot of power, looking like a good striker, and then he's more so fallen back on his wrestling lately. But Alvarez has never stopped a takedown in the UFC. Diakiese has attempted 35 takedowns in his last 3 fights alone, and he landed 19 of them, I believe. Scored a lot of points in those wins, 113 DraftKings points, 119 DraftKings points. I think he has to do that here. I think he has to get takedowns, stay out of submissions, and win with top control time unless he wants to strike. I just don't know that early striking will be great for him in this matchup. It is in London, though, so that's kind of leading me more so towards the Diakiese side. I think if it was in Spain or somewhere else in the world, I'd more so be picking Alvarez, but I like these London fighters in London. The crowd brings it. The judges suck. They give it to those London fighters all the time. So I'm going Diakiese here to land takedowns, win 2 or 3 rounds through the ground. And at 7,200, I think he gets 10x or more in any win, but he has 100-point upside if he does wrestle for 3 rounds. So Diakiese will be one of my favorite underdogs on the card just for the upside, but it's not a confident pick on him winning. He could get finished fast. So I like Alvarez as well.
Yeah, no, this was the most interesting fight on the card because Diakiese lands all the takedowns in the world. He's going to be trying to wrestle. Joe Alvarez, like you said, 0% takedown defense. However, that's partly because right when he's about to get taken down, he jumps Gilly. He finds the neck. 16 of his 19 wins by submission. He's nasty on the ground. And, man, that dude against Thiago Moises showed he's more than just a grappler. He walked forward, heavy hands. Diakiese has been hurt in the past. We have seen him get caught in the Gilly too against Brito, got dropped, put in the Gilly. I'm on Alvarez. I just think he's a way more dangerous fighter. I think early he can hurt Diakiese. He can knock him out early. I think he can sub Diakiese if he hurts him, jump on it. And if Diakiese, he needs to fight the perfect fight for 15 minutes. He has to say it. The submissions, goes for the takedown. If you leave your neck, Alvarez is going to smash it or take it home with them. So I just think there's so many more paths for Alvarez. He's a much more dangerous fighter. Totally get what you're saying, though, because Diakiese, if he wins 8 minutes or 8 takedowns, even it's 3 takedowns, somehow it's 1 each round, Alvarez can't get up. I don't think that would be the case. I think it would be some more, but it'd be 14 minutes of control time. And at this dog price, he has upside. There is no doubt about that with takedowns. So I'm on the Alvarez side. It's going to be a good night for one of it's either you or me, Marley. We're on the other side for a lot. That's what I love, though. You do your research. We do mine. We talk come Friday. You do love to see that. But, yeah, like you said, I'm not going to be fading Diakiese by any means. He has the wrestling upside. I think Alvarez gets it done, though. I think he gets him in the first. He comes out so fast, and he is so big for this division, man. He's going to have a big tail to tape advantage. He's going to look like a whole weight class bigger than Diakiese. So
yeah.
I hear you with the
plenty of Alvarez, too. I think this is actually my favorite fight to target on DraftKings. Just because both guys have so much upside. I see the winner scoring 100-plus points in this one and having a good chance at the optimal. So I just like both sides. Even though I'm picking against Alvarez, I'll probably have 30, 40% and still be in line with the field on him.
Yeah, -125 to finish. Yeah, and he's so much first-round finish upside in this one. But, yeah, man, someone's going to get finished, I think. 16 subs for Alvarez. 3 KOs, 2 of his losses by KO. So 21 of his 22 fights have finished. Again, 5-inch height advantage. He have 3-inch reach advantage for Alvarez. And he puts on the Thiago Moises fight. Thankfully, all fighters did make weight on this card. I was definitely eyeing a couple of them. So it's good to see him make weight. He's going to walk in 175. He's going to balloon up and look huge here. So, yeah, give me Alvarez. That Thiago Moises fight. Yeah, Arman Tsarukyan, what he did to him was insane, but Arman Tsarukyan's a whole different beast, a whole different type of wrestler. So definitely excited for this one. Do not miss out on that fight. Yeah, you're talking about the judges and the London guys. Another one right here, Johnny Parsons taking on Danny Roberts, 8,200 Parsons, 8,000 Danny Roberts. And this fight was another one that we've seen some line movement. Parsons opened up, or Roberts opened up as a pretty big favorite, minus 170. Parsons was minus 140 on the way back. Went right to a coin flip, and then it's been hovering around. It's going back and forth a little bit. Roberts is sitting the slight favorite, minus 115, minus 20 at some spots. He is $200 cheaper. So the slight favorite is, or the cheaper fighter is the slight favorite in a fight that's minus 165, minus 200 to finish. Parsons does have the better inside the distance prop, though, plus 150. Roberts is plus 260. I mean, again, talk about unknowns. Johnny Parsons, he hasn't fought in a year and 8 months. He was doing interviews throughout the week, talking about how he's been dealing with concussion symptoms and stuff like that. That's held him out. Never like to hear that. I don't think the dude's very good, but there's so many unknowns. Like, has he been training every day? Has he been able to do everything he needs to do while battling this stuff? And the thing is with Danny Roberts, he can be winning any fight, but that chin, he gets it touched once. That chin is not good. Parsons been knocked out multiple times in his career too. Both guys, 4 losses, 4 of Roberts' 7 have come by knockouts. I don't know, man. I think these guys probably meet in the middle. Roberts, he's definitely the more technical guy. I think Parsons, if anyone goes for takedowns, I think it will be Parsons. I wouldn't be surprised if he has some success with it, but I don't know. Who knows if you have 15 minutes of cardio? Like, there's some unknowns, like Parkin, Parsons, guys that haven't fought in a while. Who knows? I mean, 15 fights. You got to throw some lower level guys on this card. This fight, I don't think Roberts is great. Don't know about Parsons. Don't think he really is either. But this fight, I think 2 guys with no chin, someone's going to go down is how I see it. I'll say Roberts. The thing is, this is where I want the game theory thing. Like, I was hoping Roberts was going to balloon to like a minus 125, a minus 130 favorite, because it's 200 cheaper. People would see that money line, and people would 30% Roberts, 20% Parsons, or whatever it may be. The ownership would go way like too far, I think. And I would just take the game theory approach, play the lower owned fighter. That's a small dog. He has a better win prop or inside the distance prop. However, I'm not really sure. Again, like I said, the ownership surprises me every time. I pull it up, and there's always a couple thing. It's like, wow, if I knew this, I would have done this completely different. So what are your thoughts on the ownership in this one? What are your thoughts on the whole fight?
Yeah, I haven't done ownership yet. I'm going to do that right after the podcast. I'll post it on Ship It Nation once I get finished with it. But, man, I don't know. This is a tough one because it is a coin flip. It's right there in the mid-range. Both guys have been knocked out multiple times. I just don't think Parsons is very good. I think Roberts is the better striker. It's in London, so I think the longer this goes, maybe the more it favors Roberts. But we're just playing for the knockout either way. These guys aren't high-volume strikers. They're really not wrestlers either. So I think the only way that this fight makes the optimal lineup is with a knockout. But minus 165 to inside the distance, that means we probably got to target it because one of these guys might get knocked out. I think you're right, just with the ownership. I'd rather have whoever's lower owned. I picked Roberts because it's a coin flip and it's in London. I just think he's the more proven fighter if he can keep this fight at range. I like his technical kickboxing more. I picked him to get the knockout. But, man, if neither one of these guys get a knockout, I just don't think that they're going to even 10x these mid-range salaries. So I'm not going to be all in. I do want to target both sides, though, for the KO potential. Picking Roberts, but if we think he's going to be higher owned, I'd switch that to Parsons, no problem.
Yeah, so I got a question for you. This mid-tier, it's loaded. All 3 fights in the mid-tier we talked about are expected to finish. Chris Duncan, Ashmouz fight, Filo, Barrioz fight in the beginning, and then this fight, Roberts and Parsons. Again, the Filo Barrioz fight, 8,379. The Ashmouz fight is 8,400, 7,800, and this one, 8,200, 8K. Rank your top 3, like, what's your, like, I go Ashmouz fight is my favorite, Ashmouz Duncan in that range. Filo Barrioz is my second one, and I put this one third. And again, I like all of these. If you look on paper, it's expected to finish. Good inside the distance props. Like, there's paths for all of them. However, I assume a lot of people out there, if you're only playing a couple lineups, you're wondering, you could slam all 3 mid-tier fights. No doubt about that. Don't think it's the craziest thing. Definitely have lineups that do that. However, if you're playing like one lineup or something, people are wondering, they got to leave off a thing. How would you rank them? I go Ashmouz fight, Barrioz fight, and then this fight. But
yeah, I'm fine with that ranking. I would definitely do Ashmouz Duncan as my favorite of the 3. But then the next 2 are close. I think that there's more finishing potential in this Roberts Parsons fight, but I think there's more minute winning potential scoring, I guess, minute winning scoring with Barrioz and Filo. So those are a close 2 and 3 for me. I'd say they're about a tie. So I would just fall back on your ranking.
I like it. Keeping it rolling. Next fight on the card. This one's going to be pretty good. I'm excited for this one. Daniel Marcos, Davey Grant, 8,500 Marcos, 7,700 Davey Grant. So another fight right there in the mid-tier. Looking at the odds, Marcos minus 150, Davey Grant plus 125 on the way back. This fight is slightly favored to finish, minus 115. Grant plus 285 to finish, Marcos plus 225. Man, am I excited for this one, man. This line did flip again. Another line right there. Davey Grant opened the favorite, minus 145, plus 125. Immediately flipped to the other side. Marcos the favorite. And then Marcos has taken a little money throughout the week, but not too much. And again, it depends on the book you look at. But it's around minus 150 is industry consensus right now. I think these guys are going to stand on the feet and bang. I like both guys. I'm very excited for this one. Both guys mix it up really well. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you guys know I love the calf kicks. Both these guys throw mean calf kicks. Their front leg is going to be beat up. Marcos can mix it to the body. Grant can as well. Grant has big power. Grant has never been knocked out. Grant has definitely fought the better competition. I'm taking the dog shot in this one, man. Davey Grant will fight for my money. I think these guys stand in the center. However, minus 115 to finish. If this fight goes 15 minutes, you probably don't want it. There can be knockdowns in this fight. Volume, both guys throw pretty good volume too. However, I want finishes. I want 6 finishes, or I want 8 takedowns, 12 minutes of control time. I do like those other fights more. We talked about in the mid-tier, but because I like the dog and Davey Grant, 7,700, definitely will have more of him. I'll take him to get the job done. He throws unorthodox. His strikes come from everywhere. He's got power. And man, I don't think anyone has looked as good late in their career as Davey Grant. You can argue he's in his prime at 37 years old. So give me Davey Grant. But I like Daniel Marcos too, man. It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for it. What you got?
Yeah, I like Grant here as well. I'm on the underdog. I think Marcos has solid striking, and if this is a 15-minute striking match, I think he's going to be ahead on volume. It could really go either way in that case, but I think Grant probably lands the harder shots throughout the fight. I think judges suck that this fight's in London. They will lean towards Grant. But I think Grant is more likely to get takedowns really in any round, in all rounds. He's just more experienced. He's good everywhere, but Marcos needs to keep this fight on the feet. And even if he does, it's still a really close matchup. So I kind of slightly favor Grant in this matchup. And for that reason, I'll be heavy on him and I'll be underweight on Marcos. I just don't know that Marcos is going to have a chance to get 100 points. You got to knock out Grant. Can he do that? I don't know. I think he's going to be spending time against the cage or on his back where he's not scoring much. Even if he does win a decision, he might score 80 points or so. So I'm not going to be too heavy on Marcos, maybe 15% or something like that. But Grant is going to be my leverage side. Maybe I'll end up with more Grant than Diakiese, I think, but he'll be one of my top dogs, really in all formats. I like him to get the win here. And it could come on the feet. It could come on the ground. He could finish on the feet. He could finish on the ground. Just has a lot of ways to win. And it's in London, so I'll just take the judges to give him the win here.
Yeah. Grant definitely. If this fight gets on the mat, I hope he lands takedowns. I'm not convinced he will, but if the fight does somehow end up on the mat, way better grappling. We just saw him, right? The Sunsao he submitted him. And again, that fight always will piss me off. Keith Peterson absolutely boned Sunsao in that one with the fence grab. Takes the point, but doesn't put him back in position. Grant was already going to lose the fight. So he gets it where he wants to fight, gives himself a chance. Sunsao was just wrestling him, stands him up. And then, after that, the rest is history. So Keith Peterson, that was hurtful, man, for Sunsao. Didn't even hurt me financially. I just felt bad for the man. He did deserve that. Come on, Keith. No nonsense. Get your stuff together. But, 2 for 2 on Davey Grant. Love to see that. Next fight on the card. Talk about bad judging. Lerone Murphy, Josh Culibao, 8,800 Murphy, 7,400 Culibao. Lerone Murphy, undefeated. He shouldn't be undefeated. He lost to Daniel Santos. I don't care what anyone says. Home cooking, his last fight that was in London. I don't know where he won 2 rounds. I thought it was pretty clear Santos got taken down multiple times, got controlled a bit. Strike exchanges were close. Lerone Murphy, his takedown defense has always really been the biggest problem. He can get stuck on bottom. He's fought a lot of wrestlers, but Josh Culibao, he wants to strike, man. He wants to keep it on the feet. That's the fight Lerone Murphy does want. I didn't mention the inside the distance props, so let me pull that up real quick. We got this fight is minus or plus 145 to finish, and then Culibao plus 320, Murphy plus 325. So the 1,400 savings, the underdog is essentially the same, slightly better, and more likely to finish. I'm not playing Lerone Murphy. 8,800. He needs a knockout, an early knockout. He's more low volume. He'll stay out of range. He's technical. And Culibao, he's dangerous. He has power, but I think Murphy is the better fighter, the better striker. I got Murphy by decision. I mean, even if Culibao wins or should win a decision, I don't think he's going to win it as convincingly as Santos did. And Santos, we saw what happened with the judging there. So, yeah, I'm using the judging. The London thing, like the fights I expect to finish, of course, I don't put in my head as much. This fight, since it's favored to go to the distance, I think it will. Judging comes into my mind when you're talking about that. I don't like this fight as much. Culibao, live dog. I'd rather play him than Murphy, but I like other dogs in his range more, and I think he loses. So, yeah, Murphy by decision. Not much interest. What do you got?
I agree with everything you said. I'm picking Murphy to get the win in London, but I would rather save the money and use Culibao if I'm going to use either one of these guys. But overall, it's a fight that I want to fade because I do see it going all 3 rounds. I don't think there's going to be a lot of wrestling on either side. I don't think it's going to be super high-paced. I think the winner could score 65 points. So give me Murphy to get it done, but I'm just not interested in this fight. It's one of my definitely least favorite, top 3 least favorite fights on the card.
Yeah, I agree with you. Lockstep in that one. Let's get to the next fight on the card. Man, 15 fights. We do love to see that. Not used to breaking it all down. Voice is starting to go, but I'm excited when I can sit on the couch and watch 15 fights with the crowd. Always fun in the O2. Anytime they get out of the Apex with a live crowd, I'm always game for it. So should be a fun one again. 12 p.m. Eastern start time. Make sure you do get those lineups in. If you do want all of our content, my fight breakdowns, overweight, underweight tags, Marley's core plays, my core plays, Hoop's core plays, who absolutely smashes MMA, or Marley's fight rankings, tier rankings, projections, ownership, everything you need to be successful at MMA DFS. And our Discord, any questions you guys have, you can tag Marley, tag myself. We always answer them there. So head over to shipitnation.com, $59 a month, $599 a year. And again, you do get best ball, you do get golf going on, which is what a fun sweat. I haven't been able to look too much, but it's been fun going to bed 3:30, 4 a.m. and seeing my golfers are going right now, and I see all what's going on. So I like this. I wish it was always at this time of the day, but sweating that out. A showdown we have content for as well. Next fight, far as Ziam, Jai Herbert, 8,700 Ziam, 7,500 for Herbert. Minus 150, minus 160 for Ziam, plus 140, plus 130 on the way back for Herbert. This fight is coin flip, plus 105, minus 105 in some spots to finish. Herbert plus 375, Ziam plus 210. I'm definitely picking far as Ziam in this fight. However, DFS wise, I don't have much interest, but I do have a question for you. Both guys very low volume, both guys technical strikers. Ziam not much power. He did look career best last fight though. I don't know if it was just the other dude just so bad making his UFC debut, or if Ziam made a bunch of improvements. Both low volume, like I said, 2.52 significant strikes per minute for Ziam, 2.55 for Herbert. I think it mainly stays at range, low volume. However, we saw Ziam mix in takedowns last fight, showed some wrestling. Does he do that in this fight? Because I think he wins. I feel good about that. I really don't like Herbert at all in this one. However, if it's at range, like even a second round knockout, probably not enough for Ziam. Will he wrestle though? Because don't think he gets too much ownership. Could be sneaky that way. I don't know. I'm definitely more so on the side. I want to be underweight. I want to fade. If I'm only playing a couple lineups, I wouldn't get there. However, I'm interested if you have a take and if he's going to wrestle like you did last fight.
I kind of see it like the Duncan fight. I would expect him to have a striking game plan because he is a striker, but Herbert is a striker as well. And if he's going to have any success, it's going to be on the feet. So I think if he comes out landing some big shots, Ziam might just go to game, the B game plan, and that would be to wrestle. I'm not sold after one fight that he is a good wrestler. But that is another reason to use him. He shouldn't get too much ownership here. He scored well in that fight. He had 96 DraftKings points, 3 takedowns, 1 reversal, almost 8 minutes of control time. He has that in play here because Herbert is not good on the ground. So I'm not against using him, but I expect this fight to stay at range, be a slow-paced, technical striking match. Ziam's really hard to hit, so I just don't expect much from Herbert. Herbert has to get a knockout to have any chance at a high score, so I'll probably fade him and look to these other underdogs. And since I would rather look to other favorites as well, I'm not going to have a lot of Ziam, but I would rather use Ziam than Herbert if I am putting this fight in a lineup.
No, I'm with you. And like right now, I have both of my tags. I put as a fade. I'm debating mixing a couple things around though. Again, all this stuff will be up. Head to the airport after. I'll have like an hour and a half. I'm going to put my slate plan up first. Tier rankings, core report might be a little after. I'm still deciding what to do with Ziam because, again, I think he's pretty low owned. And it's just a takedown. He needs to go that route, I think. On the feet, though, I think he's the better striker, which is why have him as a fade right now. It's like if he's piecing him up, get the leg kicks going. Herbert really just doesn't throw much. Like he can cruise to the decision. But, again, if Herbert wins, Herbert's a primary striker. Ziam's been working the wrestling. I mean, he has a path where those takedowns, that control time is on the table. So not 100% sure if I'm going to leave him as a fade. It's either a fade or underweight. Cap him at like 15, 20%, something like that. I definitely like others in his range more. However, he's one of my more confident picks at that money line. I do like the bet for sure. I think it's good value on the Ziam side there. Don't like Herbert will be one of my lowest owned fighters on the card. And that 1,200 difference will have Herbert get some ownership, but I don't think there's much cumulative ownership in this fight. Both guys very low volume. Keeping it rolling, a couple fights left on the card, a couple really fun ones for sure. Andre Muniz, Paul Craig, 9,300 Muniz, 6,900 Paul Craig, minus 225, plus 190 on the way back for Craig. This fight's minus 260 to finish. Muniz, minus 115 to get the job done inside the distance. Paul Craig, plus 315. Paul Craig made weight. He was another guy. He's dropping down from 205 to middleweights. He did make weight. The thing is, like, I don't know what him dropping down in weight does for him. He's not a good offensive wrestler. He's not a good striker. Dude he's on his back 95% of the time anyway. But that's because he'll take your arm home like he took my man Sweet Dreams. And man, that's sad seeing Sweet Dreams with the Achilles have to vacate it. Very sad, but at least he did get that title. He'll be back. But man, like what he did to Jamal Hill, like we've seen it Krylov, like on his back, the dude's as dangerous as it gets. I don't know what the drop down does to him though. Like I said, like the chin's already questionable. That weight cut's not going to make it any better. So really interesting. I was surprised to see the move down in weight. However, man, this is such a bad matchup for him. Like Paul Craig, one of the better grapplers we've seen. He ain't on Andre Muniz's level, third degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, one of the best we've seen in this sport. I think Muniz has the striking advantage. I think Muniz has the grappling advantage. I think he can get takedowns. I think he can stay safe. I think he can take the back. He's coming off a bad performance against Brendan Allen, but Allen was good. He was able to stop the takedowns, mix it into the body, and just broke Muniz at the end of the day. And you'll see he lost by sub, but again, third round, he was more. He broke him at the end of the day and found the rear naked. But yeah, I'm on Muniz. I think Muniz does sub Paul Craig. I think he's better everywhere. However, I'll have some Craig, of course, because he can always throw up that Hail Mary, but I think he's going to be over-owned, so I'm probably going to be underweight. What do you got?
Yeah, I do think Muniz is better everywhere, better striker, better wrestler, better grappler. But, I mean, do you really want to wrestle and grapple Craig? I guess if you want to prove a point, you do, and I think he could score very well if he does that. But my worry is that it's kind of like the Allen fight where he doesn't even really attempt to go for takedowns because he thinks he can beat Craig on the feet. And if he does just keep the fight standing, strikes for 3 rounds, maybe gets a late finish, I don't think he's going to score enough. He has to get a ceiling type of performance at 9,300 for him to make the optimal lineup. Whereas if Craig wins, I think he's scoring 90 plus points. It'd probably be an early submission. Muniz just got submitted by Brendan Allen, who I didn't think was a better grappler than him. So I do think Craig is live for a submission in this fight. And at 6,900, I think he could break the slate if he gets it. But he's similar to Julija Stoliarenko to me. Like if they get the finish, they're on the optimal lineup. But if they don't get the finish, they're going to lose the fight. So I'll pick Muniz to get the win, which is why I won't have a ton of this fight. But I'm interested in both guys for DraftKings. I don't know. I don't really have a preferred play. I could see me being 20% on both of these guys. So that put me higher or more leverage, I guess, on the Craig side. So maybe that makes him my preferred play, but I'm picking him to lose.
Yeah, like I like other guys. Like I like Andre Muniz. I'll definitely have some, but I like others in his range a little more. If it gets outside the first round, like I don't not sure a second round submission will be enough. If this fight stays on the
Did we lose him? Hopefully we didn't lose him. And I don't know if it's even my side. Okay, there he is.
Oh, okay. No, it'd be my side. It's the hotel. I wasn't able to bring my Ethernet cord. There's nothing to plug it in. So it's been good so far. A couple more fights. Hopefully we can hang in there. But what I was saying is I just think Muniz is better everywhere. I like others in his range more. But I'll have some at 9,300. The more I talked about it, though, I think Craig will be over-owned. Keeping it rolling before hopefully this Wi-Fi can hang in there. Awesome fight right here. Nathaniel Wood, Andre Fili, 9,200 Wood, 7,000 for Fili. Looking at the inside the distance prop, this fight, minus 210 for Wood, plus 180 for Fili, and plus 160 this fight is to finish inside the distance, plus 315 for Wood, plus 400 for Fili. So Nathaniel Wood opened up as a big favorite at minus 325. Fili took some money. Now it's been hovering around minus 200, minus 210 range. It's a really good one. It's supposed to go the distance, but Nathaniel Wood throws very good volume, 6.34 significant strikes per minute, Fili 3.83. Both guys have some offensive wrestling, 1.81 takedowns for Wood, Fili 2.38. Fili will be the bigger fighter in this one. He has a tail of the tape advantage, 5 inches in height, 5 inches in reach. It's going to be a good one, man. I'm picking Nathaniel Wood. I love what I see for him. I like how he went up in weight. The biggest thing is he slowed down. The weight cut, he absolutely drained himself every time. He slowed down the later it gets. Fili definitely doesn't slow down. But now that he's at his proper weight, I think he has 15-minute cardio. I think he closes the distance, lands the bigger shots, can mix in takedowns. I think he will have the offensive wrestling more than Fili. I think Nathaniel Wood gets it done. The inside the distance prop his KO prop is a little interesting to me. I think the inside, I think he's more likely for a finish than what the odds say. Again, I think the home crowd, I think it's a war. I think Wood wants to put on great performance, and man, he's dangerous. I love Nathaniel Wood. I'm high on him, no doubt about it. Wood for me, and again, this fight goes to decision. Andre Fili really has to make a statement to win this one, it feels like. So, yeah, I got Wood. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really high on Wood as well. I just love his all-around game. I think he's a better striker. I think he's a better wrestler. I think he's a better grappler here. And even if it is a close fight, it's in London. He's the hometown guy. So I really like everything about the Wood side. It's just that he's plus 300 inside the distance. 9,200 is a lot to pay if this is going to be a striking match. He scores his most points when he gets the fight to the ground. He had a solid performance in his last fight. He had 5 takedowns, 5.5 minutes of control time, scored 108 in a decision win, but that was with grappling. His win before that, he only scored 77 in a decision win. So that's a big range where he could end up anywhere in there. But Fili, when he won his last fight, he only scored 68 DraftKings points. So I just really am not too interested in the Fili side. I don't see him knocking out Wood. I don't think he has a lot of wrestling success here. So it's going to be more so Wood or pass for me. It's just how much can I afford at 9,200? I'm not sure. So I'm thinking maybe 20% Wood and then maybe a 5% punt, something like that on Fili. But not my favorite fight for DraftKings, more so a fight that I'm looking forward to watching. And just always, anytime Nathaniel Wood goes out there, I'm interested in seeing it. I would pay money on him for any pay-per-view, to be honest. So we're getting it for free.
Yeah, this fight should be the co-main event. I don't know what they're doing. But hey, it's 3 rounds regardless. Their order doesn't mean anything when it comes to DFS. But yeah, it makes no sense to me. But talking co-main, the next fight, Meatball Molly McCann, the co-main event star in this one. Unless the UFC is trying to give Julija Stoliarenko the shine. I don't think that is the case, though. 9,400. McCann, 6,800. Stoliarenko, minus 200 McCann, plus 170 for Stoliarenko. Again, another fight with a lot of line movement. McCann open or minus 400 in this fight. Slowly but surely, Stoliarenko has been taking money. It's kind of interesting to me. Minus 180 for this fight to finish, plus 300 Stoliarenko, plus 120 Molly McCann. I like this fight. 9,400 McCann. People are going to want 300 more for Tom Aspinall. Even Muradov, I think, probably for 100 more. Nathaniel Wood's cheaper. Like, she's going to get some, but I think she's one of the lower owned in the 9K range. Good inside the distance prop. When she fights at the O2, man, the crowd goes crazy. She goes out bad out of hell, walks forward, throws bombs. I don't think Molly McCann's really great. I mean, Blanchfield absolutely destroyed her, but Julio Stoliarenko, I mean, is one-trick pony as you get. Hit it on the ground, grab that arm. If you don't get the arm bar, well, we just saw last time, Chelsea Chandler then gets on top. And, man, Chelsea Chandler running for the hills, still probably running away from Dumont in that one. But, I mean, she got to the fight to the mat. She got it in her position. She had the arm bar. Chandler reverses, gets on top, and that's all she wrote after that. Just don't get takedowns, Molly. You can win this fight on the feet. Stoliarenko's tough, but at the end of the day, I think Molly could throw a lot of volume. I think she knocks out Stoliarenko. Yeah, I like Molly in this one. However, with Stoliarenko, like, I prefer her over Paul Craig. I feel more confident in Muniz. Women's MMA, man, you never know what happens. And if she can get the fight to the mat, she does grab that arm. She's nasty with it. All 9 of her subs, or all 9 of her wins, I believe, have all come by arm bars. So, yeah, one-trick pony in that route. I don't think she wins. I think Molly knocks her out. However, 16,800, if she does win, she is going to be on the optimal. So, yeah, all 9 of her wins coming by sub for Stoliarenko. So I got Molly. I got Molly by knockout. But again, I prefer Stoliarenko to Craig, so she will be in my pool. Will be pretty fun fight, I think. But I don't know why it's the co-main over Nathaniel Wood. What do you get?
Yeah, I think it's just the co-main because Molly McCann will bring the crowd and have it ready for the main event. But yeah, I'm much more interested in seeing Nathaniel Wood anytime out. But yeah, this is similar to that Muniz-Craig fight where I'm more interested in this one because I think McCann's a better striker, better wrestler. She is going to be the more active striker. And if she does wrestle, she probably can land more takedowns and more ground strikes than Muniz as well. She's just not a better grappler here. She's putting herself in a lot of danger if she does go for takedowns. Stoliarenko's really armbar or bust. I don't see how she wins this fight on the feet. I don't think she's a good enough wrestler to even control minutes on the ground. So she's live for that armbar, but if it's in the first round, she breaks the slate. So I'm interested in some Stoliarenko, similar to Craig, but more interested because I think she'll be lower owned. And then McCann, I think she's a great pivot away from Aspinall. She scores well in almost all of her wins, and it's in London. She's going to be coming out hot. She could get a knockout on the feet. She could go out there and score 5 takedowns if she wants because Stoliarenko would love to get it to the ground. If she could stay out of the submissions, I think she has a big-time ceiling here. So I like both sides of this fight. I'll be heavy on the fight in general, but I would guess I'm around field weight, maybe a little bit higher on McCann. But Stoliarenko, I just don't see her getting any ownership. I might be double the field on her, even though I'm picking her to lose, just because she has that slate-breaking upside. She helps me get up to Aspinall, so she's going to fit in some lineups. Her or Craig, I feel like I'm going to end up getting more than I want of one or both of them just because of that submission upside.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, like I said, Stoliarenko, we saw her. She's going to be looking for a takedown. Wrestling, it's not great, but like her path is wanting to fight on the mat, what DK scores very well. So, yeah, I'll definitely ask them again. I think Molly knocks her out, but I expected this line like minus 400 opener. Yeah, maybe a little wide, but I expected it to be like minus 300, something like that. With all the money pouring in at Stoliarenko, minus 200. It makes me really think. And Stoliarenko did make weight. Another girl or another person on this card I was monitoring. She's dropping down to 125 in this one, and she did make weight. So that was important for me to see. Good for her for doing it. I mean, she has some power on the feet too. She eats punches though with her face. She is tough, but you only can really take so much damage. Spinning back elbow. I mean, we've seen Molly do it a couple times here. She likes that in the 0-2. I think she'll be trying to land that. However, that's really it's not the best thing to do. That's how she can get taken down and get on top. But yeah, I'm looking at it. Clash of styles. Even though Molly can get takedowns and stay safe on top, It's just taking it to the ground, the one path Stoyarenko has. However, you aren't getting armbar off your back. So, yeah, I think it's Marley. I think the line minus 200, some value in that as well. Last fight on the card. Again, we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us, watching it live, watching it on replay. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We do appreciate it a ton. Helps us out doing shows every single day. MLB show later, PGA showdown going on today. Plenty of money to be made, no doubt about that. Head over to shippingnation.com. Check out all MMA content will be up today. Again, slate plan, all the slate breakdowns from me, overweight, underweight, core plays for us two, who fighter rankings from Big Marley, projections, ownership this week as well. Everything you need to be successful. Main event time. Tom Aspinall returns from the knee injury, taking on Marcin Tybura, 9,700. Aspinall, 6,500. Tybura, Aspinall, by far the biggest favorite on the card, sitting around minus 450, minus 460. Fight is minus 1,000 to finish. Aspinall minus 325 inside the distance, plus 400 for Tybura. I mean, it definitely is a scary one. I mean, it's not. I'm definitely on the Tom Aspinall side, but there's unknowns with his knee a little bit. I think he comes back 75% of what he was. Still think he can walk through Tybura. However, I'm not going to have Tybura in 20 teams or less, but I'm going to be eyeing a spot, a live bet. That will be my hedge. Tom Aspinall, he burns fast. He can slow down. Tybura plots forward. He fights at his own pace. If I see Tom Aspinall maybe starting to slow down a little bit, unloading on Tybura, and he can take I might be looking for a live bet. He's definitely going to drop round one, I think. So that's my way. And again, I know not everyone has that luxury to live bet, but that's going to be how I get my money on Tybura. If I think the pendulum's swinging in less than 20 teams, I'll have none. So if I start seeing it that way, that is how I'm going to get my money down on him. But at the end of the day, I think Tom Aspinall knocks him out in the first or the second. The speed advantage, man, that's how I see this fight. Not night and day. I don't think Tybura can close the distance. He plots forward. Tom Aspinall moves like a light heavyweight, not a heavyweight. Striking on point. He's got power. No one talks about the grappling because he hasn't showed as much in the UFC. Did against Volkov, submitted Arlovsky, but that wasn't really showing the grappling as much. He grew up grappling, though, since a young age. So this dude's a well-rounded knee injury that really sucked against Blades, but I think he knocks him out. I think the speed advantage is too much. But, man, he can get takedowns. Like, he can win there. He's better everywhere. I do just think the cardio little thing I'm going to be eyeing on this fight, and that's how I'm going to get my money on Tybura. Hopefully I don't need to. Hopefully he gets knocked out in the first or second like I think, but did want to bring that up. Tybura or Aspinall, first, second round KO. What do you got?
Same. Aspinall is my favorite fighter on the card. If I can afford him, 9,700 is a lot to pay, but I just think he's the levels above Tybura everywhere. Much better on the feet with his boxing, so much faster. He could get the fight to the ground anytime probably and submit him or ground and pound him out in the early rounds. But it is the cardio and the ACL that are the worry. How's he look coming back from that ACL? I don't know. Even if he is 75% Tybura, I think he's got a big edge. I mean, 75% of what he was, I think he's got a big edge over Tybura. But if Tybura can just take a beating for the first two rounds, he's in play to come back and win late because we've never seen Aspinall get extended. We've never seen him in a 5-round fight. So that's what puts Tybura in play. I'm not too interested in it, maybe a 10% type of play. But I want as much Aspinall as I can afford. I think he gets a first-round finish. Maybe it's second round, but I'm expecting it to be early with the crowd all hyped up from McCann. Aspinall's going to bring it in London as well. I expect him to be a champion in the next couple of years. So I'm heavy on Aspinall. I'll probably have him in 70% or more of my lineups. You mentioned he's like minus 350 inside the distance. He's also minus 150 on books to win inside round one. So that's a 60% chance right there. I want to be at least 60% on Aspinall.
Yeah, and 60% will be overweight. He's going to be the highest owned fighter on the card, but still, I don't even think he gets over 50. I mean, on a 15-fight card, he will be the most popular. I think he's somewhere in the mid-40s, something like that. Again, I've been surprised plenty. I'm surprised every week about something. Maybe gets up to 50, but like you said, 60% chance to win in round one. I just think about Tybura. Like in 150, I don't think I'm going to click the X button on Tybura. You get all the leverage off of Aspinall. Again, if he slows down, he has his path that way. I don't think I write the slate plan for 20 entry teams though or below. I love that $3 20 entry max contest they got. It fits more people's bankroll. I just don't think many people 150. So yes, in my 150, I'll probably have some Tybura in 20 teams or less though. There's other live dogs. Other dogs I think are a lot more live. So I'll be looking at the live bet situation. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but keep a close eye on that. 15 fights, Marley. That was fun. My voice absolutely going. Any final thoughts you got for the people?
Now, I'm going to finish up my fight rankings sheet after this podcast. I'll get ownership posted as well. Core report, everything will be up in the next couple hours on my end. I think titles as well. Hoop will get his core report in there. So go sign up if you haven't yet. We got all sports, $59, $49 if you sign up for the yearly. So I think it's a steal. And then we got NFL coming up. So the best is yet to come. I'm excited for next week's best ball. Every week, I love doing this. Best ball and MMA, my two favorite things to talk about. So glad to do it with you. Hopefully you have some good luck this weekend. Have a safe flight home. Good luck to everybody listening as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Always fun talking sports with you, Marley. 2 times a week, MMA, best ball. Love to see that. Good luck to you, Marley. Good luck to everybody out there. Yeah, my content will be rolling. Heading to the airport after this show. Going to get for sure the slate plan up, whatever I can get before the flight. Only a 45-minute hour flight, hop, skip, and a jump, Vegas to Arizona. So it'll be up. We'll tag everyone in the MMA chat again. Go to the Discord, go to the notifications. You got to click MMA, PGA, whatever you want notifications for, you can click. And I love it because you don't need to tag if you don't want a notification. You don't play a certain sport, you don't have to get notified about it. You won't get blown up that way. So awesome stuff, Marley. So excited for tomorrow. O2 Arena. Crowd will be crazy. Finally got 15 fights. Let's keep them all on there. It's going to be a fun one, man. Hopefully some Shipping Nation logos up top. That's going to do it, though. For Big Marley, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everyone.